After 67 signs you are becoming a low-value man, and how to fix it. A man after 60 doesn't lose himself in a single moment of failure. He loses himself in the quiet accumulations, the morning he stopped waking with purpose, the conversation where he chose comfort over truth, the day he traded discipline for distraction. Low value isn't stamped on your forehead or measured by your bank account. It lives in the patterns you repeat when no one's watching. It grows in the space between who you were and who you've allowed yourself to become. Your habits speak louder than your resume ever will. They whisper your worth long before you open your mouth. Hi, welcome back to my channel. It's Vernon again, and in today's video, I will walk with you through 7 signs that reveal when a man is quietly losing his value not in the eyes of others, but in his own soul. Make sure you watch until the end, because the 7th sign is the reason most men never find their way back. Before we go deeper, if you're serious about reclaiming your inner strength, masculine confidence, and psychological clarity, after 60, hit that like button and subscribe to this channel. This channel exists to help men like you rebuild what time and life may have worn down. Let's start with the first sign, the moment a man begins to slip without realizing it. 1. You complain more than you create. When a man replaces action with accusation, he trades power for pity. Complaining feels like participation, like you're doing something, but you're not. You're spectating. You're narrating problems instead of solving them. And over time, that voice becomes your identity. Low-value men talk about what's broken. High-value men fix what they can and let go of what they can't. Creation, even small acts of it, restores masculine energy faster than any motivational speech. Write a letter. Build a shelf. Cook a meal with care. Teach someone something you know. The world doesn't owe you attention, but it always respects contribution. Stop waiting for conditions to be perfect. Start moving with what you have. Progress, not perfection, is what separates the man from the echo. Make one small thing better today, not for applause, for practice. As the Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." Stop telling people what's wrong with the world. Show them what's right with your hands. When was the last time you built something instead of criticizing it? Drop your answer in the comments. Sometimes the question is the wake-up call. But sometimes, men don't complain, they just disappear. Into routine, into silence, into a life that no longer surprises them. 2. You've lost curiosity. Low value begins the moment a man stops asking questions, when he believes he already knows all the answers. When life becomes predictable, not because it is, but because he stopped paying attention, a man without curiosity becomes stale. Conversations grow shallow. His presence loses weight. Women stop leaning in when he speaks, not because he's aged, but because he's stopped evolving. Curiosity is what keeps a man alive long after his body starts slowing down. It's the fuel for relevance, magnetism, and growth. When did you last read something that challenged your beliefs? When did you last ask someone, "Teach me about that"? When did you last listen? Truly listen. Instead of waiting for your turn to talk, feed your mind intentionally. Pick up a book outside your comfort zone. Learn a skill. Ask more. Assume less. Curiosity isn't childish, it's masculine intelligence in motion. I once knew a man named Jade's husband, 70 years old, retired, respected in his community. But at home, his wife barely looked at him anymore. Not because of his age, but because he had become an echo chamber of his own opinions. He talked at people, never with them. One day, a friend invited him to volunteer at a local history museum. Reluctantly, he went. Within weeks, something shifted. He was asking questions again, learning stories, listening to strangers with genuine interest. His wife noticed, not because he changed careers, but because he changed energy. Curiosity made him magnetic again. If this is hitting home, share this video with another man who might need to hear it. Sometimes we can't see ourselves clearly, but we can see each other. But curiosity fades fastest when something else takes over, a hunger that never satisfies. The need for validation. 3. You seek validation instead of respect. Do you find yourself checking how others react to you more than how you feel about yourself? The low-value man lives for approval. He adjusts his words based on who's listening. He needs to be liked, admired, or praised. And when he doesn't get it, he feels hollow. But here's the cruel irony. The more desperately you chase validation, the less people respect you. Validation is borrowed confidence. It evaporates the moment the applause stops. Respect, on the other hand, is earned internally. It's built in solitude, in discipline, in the decisions you make when no one's watching. A man who respects himself doesn't need constant reassurance. His value is grounded in his character, not his audience. Learn to sit with yourself without distraction. Stop performing. Start practicing integrity, the alignment between who you are and who you claim to be. Respect yourself first. The world will follow. As Friedrich Nietzsche said, the individual has always had to struggle to keep from being overwhelmed by the tribe. If you try it, you will be lonely often, and sometimes frightened. But no price is too high to pay for the privilege of owning yourself. And once validation controls you, the next sign quietly follows, a leaking of energy you can't afford to lose. 4. You've stopped protecting your energy. When a man gives his time, attention, and peace to everyone who asks, he ends up empty. He says yes out of guilt. He listens to complaints that aren't his to carry. He absorbs the chaos of others until he forgets what his own calm feels like. A low-value man can't say no without apologizing. A high-value man understands that boundaries aren't walls, they're gates. They let in what nourishes and keep out what drains. Start treating your energy like currency. Not everyone deserves access. Walk away from gossip. Distance yourself from relationships that take more than they give. Peace isn't passive, it's protective. I lived through this myself. For years, I was the man people called when they needed something. A listening ear, a favor, a shoulder. I thought that made me valuable. But over time, I noticed no one ever asked how I was doing. I was pouring from an empty cup, and I called it generosity. It wasn't. It was fear. Fear of being disliked. Fear of being alone. One day, I said no to a friend who wanted to vent about the same problem for the 10th time. I felt guilty for a week, but something shifted. I started reclaiming hours, silence, clarity, and ironically, the people who truly mattered respected me more for it. As the ancient philosopher Lao Tzu wisely said, care about what other people think, and you will always be their prisoner. But sometimes, men protect everything except their integrity. They confuse softness with wisdom, stagnation with peace. 5. You justify weakness as being real. Some men call their comfort zone authenticity. They stop improving and call it self-acceptance. They confuse giving up with letting go. They say, I'm just being real, when what they really mean is, I'm too tired to try. Being real doesn't mean being stagnant. Real growth is uncomfortable. It demands honesty that cuts through your excuses. It asks you to face the version of yourself you've been avoiding. A low-value man hides behind, "I'm too old for that," or "That's just who I am." A high-value man says, "I'm not who I was, and I'm not done becoming." Stop romanticizing mediocrity. Growth is the most honest thing you can do. Face what makes you uncomfortable, and do it anyway. That's integrity. That's real. And once fear takes root in the soil of comfort, it starts eroding everything else, especially accountability. 6. You blame women, society, or age for everything. Low-value men externalize failure. The job market is rigged. Women today are impossible. Society doesn't respect older men anymore. It's always someone else's fault. Always something outside of their control. Blame is the fastest way to lose your power. The moment you hand responsibility to external forces, you give away your ability to change. You become a passenger in your own life. Take ownership again. Not of everything, but of your response to everything. You can't control the world, but you can control your discipline, your mindset, your actions. Power returns the moment blame ends. No one respects a man who won't face his reflection. A woman named Hazel once told me about her brother. He was bitter for years, angry at women, the economy, the younger generation. One Thanksgiving he went on another rant about how women today have no loyalty. Hazel looked at him calmly and asked, "But do you have direction?" The room went silent. He didn't answer. But 6 months later, he enrolled in a woodworking class, started a small side business, and stopped blaming the world. He didn't become rich, but he became lighter, focused, respected again. Viktor Frankl, the great existential psychiatrist, once wrote, "When we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves." And when blame finally ends, when a man stops pointing outward and starts looking inward, a new kind of man is born. But only if he remembers one final thing. 7. You've forgotten your purpose. A man without purpose becomes heavy, not because he's tired, but because he's directionless. He wakes up and wonders, what's the point? He moves through the day without intention, and over time, that weight crushes him. Not physically, spiritually. Purpose is what makes suffering bearable. It's what turns routine into ritual. A high-value man doesn't need a grand mission. He just needs something that gives his days meaning. It could be caring for family, mentoring a younger man, mastering a craft, building something with his hands, writing his story. The size doesn't matter. The movement does. In the words of the Roman emperor and philosopher, Marcus Aurelius, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. And a man without purpose has no quality to anchor those thoughts. He drifts. Ask yourself, what would I do if no one was watching? That's where your purpose hides. Start small. Commit to it. Let it grow. Purpose doesn't arrive in a flash of inspiration, it's built one intentional day at a time. If this video has given you clarity, save it. Watch it again when you need a reminder. And share it with someone, a father, a brother, a friend, who's searching for himself and doesn't know where to start. If you've made it this far, you now understand the 7 patterns that quietly erode a man's value. Masculine value isn't determined by age, status, or how much you've lost. It's determined by energy, discipline, and how you rise every time you fall. You don't become a high-value man by dominating others. You become one by mastering yourself. One decision at a time. One boundary at a time. One moment of integrity when no one's watching. Marcus Aurelius said, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." What's the one thing you're going to change starting today? Leave your honest answer in the comments, because your honesty might be the mirror another man needs to see himself clearly. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to this channel. There's more where this came from. Real talk about masculinity, self-mastery, and reclaiming your strength after 60. Go check out the channel. You'll find the tools to rebuild what time tried to take. And I'm Vernon. Thanks for watching till now. See you next time.